CryptoZoo.co. I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
I lost $40,000.
I lost around 15,000 US dollars.
I lost $25,000.
Coffeezilla exposed Logan Paul's CryptoZoo NFT scam. In this video, we're going to break this one down. And let's have a little game whilst we're at it. Since the one you're about to watch doesn't actually work, you have 4 candidates. Comment down below which of these do you think rugged the most money from this project. Candidate 1, founder Logan Paul. Candidate 2, the manager Jeff Levin. Candidate 3, Eddie Ibanez, the lead developer. Or candidate number 4, the crypto expert, Jake Crypto King. Drop your answer down in the comments section. So basically, Logan Paul used his audience to create an NFT scam project called CryptoZoo. The premise was you buy an egg NFT, you could then hatch that egg NFT and it would be an animal. These animals could then be combined together into what was known as a hybrid. The hybrid could then be staked, and once staked, in theory, it should then yield the Zoo token. That was the kind of play to earn mechanic. There was some real artistic flair for this one. Those hybrids, the most sought after NFTs, included the likes of these: Shirtles, Schlions, and even the ape fly. Literally the kind of shit you make up when you're 10 years of age, but let's just roll with it. However, just listen to how Logan Paul hypes this one up and gets his audience excited for something big.
It's quick to make a digital asset with, unique, randomly generated characteristics. We handmade art for the past 6 months, bro.
Now, this was a project that Logan said he put around $1 million into. However, supposedly handmade art turned out to be Adobe stock images just mashed up together to create the hybrids, and the custom code was indeed forked from other projects. So that $1 million was certainly not spent on development. So would you be surprised when I said none of the basic mechanics behind this one actually worked and there was no game?
This all sounds very enticing. Handmade art, a fun game that can earn you money, and one of the biggest influencers in the world backing it. You might think, how can I lose? Which is why when people were told all you had to do to play was buy an egg, people spent millions. Just on the first launch between ETH and Zoo, people bought $2.5 million worth of eggs in the first day. And did I mention the game hadn't even been launched yet? All people were buying was the marketing and the promises. And it wasn't just the NFTs they bought either. The Zoo token also skyrocketed in value, reaching a $2 billion market cap pre-game launch.
We have a massive team behind it and are probably out of pocket like $1 million just because we believe it's going to work.
On development.
Yeah.
That's the line that started this whole mystery. We spent $1 million on development. I couldn't get this out of my head. Is he lying? There's no way he expects people to believe he spent it on art. So wait, maybe he spent it on blockchain stuff, right? That's what I thought. But then I audited the smart contract and it's not handmade at all. It's not even original. It's what's called a fork, a copy of, some other code that exists out there. One of them is called Floki Shib X, which launched before it. So where'd this $1 million go? I didn't understand.
No staking, no hatching, no yield. Just listen to this disappointed investor.
So I acquired a bunch of eggs. And I actually want to play the game. I didn't acquire the eggs with the intent of keeping them. I actually wanted to hatch them and see what I got out of them and play in this ecosystem that's been advertised or whatever, right? And then I can't do anything. It's not showing up on the website when I connect my wallet, etc., etc. So I'm a little baffled. I'm like, I must be doing something wrong. Let me tell you, it's never been up.
Wait, you can't even hatch?
No, I'm telling you, it's just a picture. There's nothing I could do with it.
Meanwhile, the project's failure is blamed on the developer running away with the code and holding it hostage. However, the developers had a different side to this story.
He literally never paid me anything at all, ever. I never was paid. And, we got to a point when I was working on it where I just realized they were just going to try to steal all of my work and not pay me. And so I took all the source code private. And I just kind of spent like a month just trying to negotiate and get something figured out where I would finally get paid. Because I'm on my end, I have a team of 30 engineers, so I'm earning $50,000 a week on building this thing. And the only thing they brought to the table were a bunch of Photoshop JPEGs.
We've been paid nothing. I would have loved to have Zoo, but I don't have any.
So that's multiple sources working on the CryptoZoo team project who were not paid. Logan Paul's manager, a guy named Jeff Levin. He might be just what we need to settle this whole thing. So I gave him a call.
I have no comment for it.
Okay, are you guys denying it? Or are you saying it's not true?
Just no comment. I don't think that the information is true. You have to report correct news with verifiable information.
Right, that's why I'm calling you. They've given me a lot of things. A lot of evidence.
Okay, well, okay. You can have the evidence you want, but I'm just letting you know, if you report anything on us, I appreciate your business. As we've been advised always, is if anybody reports fake news, that's where we won't, I have no comment on the situation.
Okay.
Your job legally is to report facts. If you don't report facts on the information you're given, it is illegal.
Yes, that was a real conversation with a real person.
Now enter onto the scene the man in charge of development, Mr. Eddie Ibanez, fulfilling a very important role. Now this guy supposedly was an orphan, went to MIT, hacked AOL when he was just a kid in his mum's bedroom, and would you believe was even involved in the winning of a Super Bowl? Well, apparently that was a lie.
Yes, hi, my name's Eddie Ibanez, lead developer here at CryptoZoo.
I wasn't quite sure what to make of him. Based on what I knew about him, he was a MIT grad who went on to work for the CIA and the Defense Department, and I didn't want to waste his time. And it wasn't long after I sat down that I realized he was wasting my time. Eddie has told me so many lies over the course of my 2 interviews with him, and the first lie he told me is probably the oldest lie that he's told so many people, which is that he's an orphan. I found a video of Eddie and his wife making rice pudding on a Fox and Friends segment on Fox News. And Eddie's wife, Jackie, explained,
why is this a family recipe?
Okay, so Eddie's mom made this rice pudding once.
Wait, Eddie's mom? I thought Eddie was an orphan. Well, it turns out the only problem with that is that not only does his mom exist, she's alive and in his life.
I emailed the MIT registrar's office and I asked if Eddie Ibanez attended the school, and they confirmed in absolute terms that he never attended MIT.
Him winning the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles. He managed to convince the owner of the New York Yankees that it was true, Barry Klarberg, who completely bought into it without question and told the same story later in a college seminar. The Philadelphia Eagles responded to a fact check saying he never worked for their player analysis team.
And did he tell you, I guess, kind of like about like working with the NFL and that kind of stuff and the whole, like his time in the CIA and all that?
He did. And it was interesting. It was like, this is wild, like that's pretty cool. But he's humble and he's not like ever bragging or anything like that.
So a month before the launch of CryptoZoo, I got on the phone with Jeff Levin, Logan Paul's manager. And after he spoke fondly of Eddie and his work, I confronted him about some of Eddie's lies, including how he didn't work for the NFL. Jeff told me he doesn't know much about the NFL, but he knows about the business world. And Chris Birch and Todd Morley vouched for Eddie. And so Jeff and Logan were going to continue working with him.
Even a year from launch, the game just doesn't exist. What's worse is the newest dev team who came on after Eddie just quit. And one of the reasons was they hadn't been paid for over a month.
So the problems just keep pouring in here. Your NFTs look absolutely terrible. Your lead developer is outed as a liar, yet you do nothing about this. But could there be at least a silver lining with your crypto expert? Now enter the scene, Jake, the crypto king. A crypto influencer in on this one for the right reasons, trying to promote the next biggest game. But what could go wrong? A mutiny, perhaps?
Logan, you stole 40 million in tokens from me. You are a scam artist. You are a liar, and you betrayed your own community. You aren't that guy. Logan replies, "Oh, Jake, trust me, bro. I am that guy." We have to start in March of 2021, 6 months before the token even launched. Our 4 suspects, Logan, Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff, are in a group chat discussing CryptoZoo, which starts as a copy of something else. Quote, "I like imitating crypto kitties," Jake the Crypto King says. Logan replies, "I agree." And initially, it wasn't called CryptoZoo at all. It was called Crypto Pets, and they were gonna sell a Pets token. And pretty early on, it became clear this was all about money, how they were going to sell this thing to investors. In fact, Crypto King said he thought it was worth at least $20 million in only 6 months, saying the range is insane. $20 to $210 million. It's beautiful wherever we land. So Crypto King comes up with a middle solution. He says, if we can't sell, no pre-sale. We can still trade them in the liquidity pool. But they tried to get clever with it because they didn't actually announce that they were launching this coin at all. They stealth launched it on June 11th and didn't announce this token through Logan until August 18th, meaning they had all that time to silently buy up as much of the supply at a steep discount as they wanted. And Crypto King makes this clear on June 7th when he says, quote, launch of the liquidity pool is where huge money will be made because you get in cheaper. And then says, we, the team, begin buying out the liquidity pool. Once the team has exhausted funds for the liquidity pool buying, we send the contract address to friends, family, investors who want to be able to get in.
So what's going on here is these guys did not want to go down the route of a pre-sale. They thought maybe the SEC would poke their nose at some point. So what they decided to do is a stealth launch of the token, create a Uniswap liquidity pool, and start buying from that and not letting anyone know about it. It was their own inside game. And in this fashion, they could buy up all of that illiquid supply. Now this was June and the token officially wasn't launched into the public domain until the end of August, aka the beginning of marketing. So it's very clear from here that retail is about to be screwed. But watch how their scheme crumbles due to insider greed.
So obviously the plan is we buy first, then we give it to our close friends and family, and then maybe the public eventually, right? Quote, Zoo Day is tomorrow. I highly recommend everyone get a few $100 to a few $1,000 in Zoo when it goes live. It will likely 10 to 1,000x. So that was their plan. Rather than doing a pre-sale, they were going to do this stealth launch and hopefully get tokens cheaply the same way, but without all the legal troubles. Or at least that was the plan. Because on stealth launch day, this is where things first started to go wrong for the team. At first, everything seemed to go normal. The team sat in a circle and literally bought it out as planned. But the next day, Crypto King says something odd. Quote, a bot is playing with our token. Kind of cool to watch them work. But he doesn't mention who this bot is. And he also says the asshole finished selling, but doesn't mention who that is. Now, Jeff, Logan's manager, replies upset. He says, how do we prevent someone doing what they just did again? We went from a $130 million to $26 million market cap in 2 hours. It's not cool to watch. How did anyone get this token except for us and none of us sold? And I think actually this is incredibly suspicious because the implication of what Logan's saying is, hey, we tried to scheme this really well. We tried to all buy this without letting anyone know. How did anyone else figure out we were buying it, right? Crypto King deflects the question by saying, my buyer pushed it back up to $40 million. And Logan says, no, bro, F your buyer. Explain to me what just happened and how there were 30 token holders. And Jake tries to explain that this was just traders and bots happening to find the token. But Logan says only 5 of us knew about it. Jake says, well, many people chase volume and new tokens. And to some extent, he's kind of right. But Logan replies, cap. He doesn't believe it. Quote, I can't be the only one who thinks that's too incredibly convenient. Like someone was tipped off. And look, no one's more critical of Logan than me. But as I'm reading these texts, I was kind of like agreeing. Like, yeah, it does seem too nonchalant when somebody's ruining your secret plot. You know what I mean? Because Crypto King was acting very strange. He says, we created $40 million out of thin air. This is a success. Logan replies, this nonchalance worries me. F 40 million. It was at 120 million, which again, it's all about the money with these guys. But truth be told, I did agree that Crypto King's attitude seemed strange in these texts. It sounded like he didn't want anyone to look into it. So, naturally, I looked into it. And what I found surprised me. So I tracked the 5 biggest buyers of this Zoo coin. And lo and behold, this is what I found. Logan was one of the biggest buyers, which is what you'd expect. But he wasn't the biggest. In fact, 2 of the biggest wallets seem to be associated with Crypto King himself. I thought Crypto King was a small part of this team.
So at this point, the advisor is trying to scam the scam. Just incredible stuff. Let's continue.
And so to get more info on this, I actually got access to an internal meeting note from the day of June 11th, which they called Zoo Day. And in it, we find actually some interesting information. We see that 5 founders bought in. They apparently were, quote, trading in circles until each person maxed out. We have Danny, Logan's assistant, for 20K, Logan Paul for 100K, Jeff at 100K, and Eddie at 100K, but Crypto King is nowhere to be found. And yet, on the blockchain, I have him putting in $200,000 worth. And this number, by the way, seemingly is confirmed in a conversation I had with Crypto King, where he said, my 200K investment. And the reason this is important is because it does imply that something shady was going on the day of the stealth launch. Because Crypto King had a relatively small role in this whole project. He was the advisor, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like you can see from the internal meeting notes, they have a breakdown of who's getting what in terms of founder tokens. And like Logan Paul's getting 51%, Eddie's getting 30%, Jeff's getting 10%. Jake's only getting 5% of tokens, but he has the most of these like stealth launch tokens, which makes no sense. And it got me thinking that maybe what explains this suspicious behavior around like, oh, don't worry about who was buying at the time of the launch. Maybe that's explained because perhaps no one knew that he was buying up large parts of the token supply.
So September 1st is now the launch date for the token, but it's at this point the rest of the team now cuts Jake, the Crypto King, out of the game. No honor amongst thieves.
September 1st, CryptoZoo.co.
Now, the day of the launch was a bit strange because you might think, well, they already have a token, right? But the first thing they did was actually create a new Zoo token with a different code, but the same name. And they actually airdropped all the holders of the first Zoo token with an identical amount of those coins on the second Zoo token. They blacklisted some of the holders. In other words, they didn't airdrop to everyone, including Jake, the Crypto King. They excluded his wallets so it couldn't get these Zoo coins. Quote, as a founder like Logan, Jeff, Eddie, and Danny, I had purchased a large quantity of tokens. 5+ of my wallets had been blacklisted from the original team's buys. He says 80+ billion Zoo tokens were confiscated from me to date without any communication. The reality is you aren't that guy. And Logan responds, oh, Jake, trust me, bro, I am that guy. It sounds like Logan stabbed him in the back, but it sounds like Crypto King may have stabbed him in the back in the first place, right?
So now are you ready to learn exactly how much these team members made from this project whilst retail bought into a game that just simply did not work? Let's see if you guessed correctly. The result here is quite shocking.
Crypto King sold, by my calculations, millions of dollars. And I know what you're thinking, how's that possible, right? I thought his tokens were blacklisted the day of the official launch. How could he sell that much? Well, the answer is that not all of his tokens were blacklisted. He had even more tokens behind the scenes. From my blockchain analysis across his blacklisted tokens he got back and the tokens that he had squirreled away the whole time, he ended up making $6 million.
Yeah, I'll go on the record for you. And yes, I'm going to show you the text message that say we can sell at these ascending market caps. And literally, I'm going to 100%. It sounds like your biggest issue with me is that I sold.
He's not the only one who sold here. But I also have to say, not everyone from the founders did sell. For example, Jeff, Logan's manager, to my knowledge, never sold. Neither did Logan Paul, which was a huge surprise. All their wallets that I tracked, held on to their tokens, which is good and to their credit for a game that doesn't work. But you know who did sell? Eddie Ibanez, the guy who didn't pay the initial devs, the supposed MIT orphan. Yeah, from what I could see, his initial wallet got a ton of Zoo, sent it to a bunch of smaller wallets, and then sold off, kind of like Crypto King. And for my calculations, he made about $1.7 million. Remember, we talked about how they profited from ZooCoin, but they also made millions from eggs. According to their own internal meeting notes, they plan to make about $3 million selling these eggs for 0.1 ETH a piece. And that's not far from what I calculated they actually did make, which was about $2.5 million. In the meeting notes, they say they're going to clear expenses and then do payouts. But payout who? They don't say. And these expenses are referencing an earlier note suggesting Eddie and Logan had both spent $300,000 each, which I'll say is not $1 million. But okay, we'll give it to them, right? So they got paid back their $600,000, but where does the rest of the money go? Well, on the Ethereum side, there's one payout for $364,000 to one wallet and another $1 million to another. They both are Coinbase addresses, so we don't know who exactly that is, but clearly someone on the team made a lot of money from these NFT egg sales that do not work.
So it seems that the NFT sale proceeds made their way to Logan Paul's Coinbase wallet. Meanwhile, there are mass failures on all fronts. Your lead dev is a scammer and a liar. Your crypto advisor is also a scammer. The manager is clearly incompetent, and Logan Paul, as you can see from some of these messages, was just clearly after a quick buck. But where are they now, and what is the current situation? Well, Logan Paul posted this on Boxing Day. He's invited Coffeezilla to an episode of Impulsive to appear. I'd like to extend an offer for you to come onto Impulsive in person to discuss CryptoZoo. So clearly he wants to try and defend himself here. That was on the 26th. However, Coffeezilla said this: "You forgot to include my email." Oh wow, he's burned yet again. As he says, Logan invited me onto his show, but didn't include the email 24 hours previous where I invited him first onto Coffee's show, along with Eddie, Crypto King, and Jeff. So here's the email that Coffee had sent out to Logan. Logan trying to cover tracks here and pretend that he was the one trying to initiate a bit of a redemption arc. But at this point, you can see he's trying to cover his own tracks and just simply protect his reputation. So let this be a reminder: never buy a celebrity's NFT collection. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.